One of our top stories this morning, President Trump's Justice Department ordering federal prosecutors to drop the sweeping corruption case against New York City Mayor Eric Adams. Adams was indicted in September on charges of bribery and fraud. And we're joined now by his predecessor, former New York City Mayor Bill de Blasio. Mayor, great to have you here. So Eric Adams flew down to Mar-a-Lago. He was at Trump's inauguration, and now this. When you think back to your time in office during the first Trump administration, I mean, how do you even compare these two?
It's very different. Look, I challenged Donald Trump from the beginning. I thought what he was trying to do was a huge affront to New York City and our values. I will also say there's times when he was still the president of the United States. You had to deal with him. You had to try and find any common ground, or sometimes we needed Washington to do something for us. So I think for every mayor, every governor, striking that balance is crucial. The number one thing is defend your people, defend your city. Call them like you see them. When the president's right, great, you can work with him. When he's wrong, take him on. So in this case, I think that has to be the way forward. And we can talk about this specific case and what happened. But the most important thing is, from this point on, this mayor needs to show that he will stand up for the people of New York City, regardless of what Trump did for him.
Can New Yorkers trust that he will stand up to this administration if that is what's in the best interest of this city?
You know what? There's a great phrase, don't tell me, show me. He has a chance to show people that he's doing that. In the end, look, what's happening in Washington right now, the way the Justice Department is being subverted, the way our democratic process is being undermined, everyone should not only be deeply afraid, but we need to fight it. We need to not take it lying down. That said, you can look at any individual case on its merits. You know, I actually felt literally from the beginning that the indictment of Mayor Adams was flimsy.
Oh, really?
Yeah, no, I read the indictment early on. I did not see much there. I think a lot of people...
So do you agree with this DOJ move?
Yeah, I actually think that charges were not strong enough. They were affecting the democratic process in New York City. We have a Democratic primary for mayor in just over 4 months. This needed to be resolved one way or another. So I am actually comfortable that these were weak charges. I don't think they even should have been brought. But I'm not comfortable, of course, with what's happening in Washington with the Justice Department. I'm not comfortable with what Donald Trump is doing to our institutions and how he's undermining our democracy. And I think for Eric Adams now, the challenge is, okay, now you have a chance to focus on being mayor. You have a chance to talk to the people in New York City about what we need to do, including how we need to deal with the Trump administration, and show us that you're striking that balance.
Well, look, the reasoning behind ordering the charges to be dropped actually doesn't even say that the evidence wasn't strong enough. I mean, Emil Bovee, who's the acting number 2 at the Justice Department, lays out in this memo that DOJ officials did not evaluate the evidence of the case. Instead, he argues that the indictment came too close to this year's mayoral primary in June, and that it was hindering Mayor Adams' ability to crack down on immigrants and to fight crime. What do you make of that justification?
I think there's a profound flaw in that. I think they actually should have just said, these charges are not strong enough.
Why wouldn't they?
Right, no, I think they should. But at the same time, I can say from the experience of understanding what it does to a leader trying to run a place as difficult as New York City, if there's anything else hanging out there, it does undermine the ability to do the job day to day. Also, Department of Justice historically has said when it's close to an election, these matters need to be resolved one way or another, so as not to be basically the DOJ stepping into a local election and determining the outcome in effect. I think it would have been better if they said, hey, we looked at the case, we don't find much here. Or if they did find a lot, okay, then go forward. I don't love the way they worded it.
Bottom line, what's the message then? What message does the chain of events? Again, you know, charges brought, Mayor Adams cozies up to Trump, then Trump Justice Department says drop the charges. What message does this send to other local and state officials across the country?
Look, I start with no one's above the law, and if someone's done something wrong, they should pay the consequences. So one of the things that's clear about Donald Trump, he's not believed that, right? He's fundamentally trying to take away the key lesson we learned from Watergate. No one's above the law, and there has to be those consequences. But if, in this case, this was a weak case to begin with, this was a problematic case to begin with, we have to be able to see that, too. We can't just say, because of Donald Trump, we're going to lose all objectivity about the individual case. I don't think this case was ever going to prevail. I really don't.
We've talked to other legal analysts who would argue otherwise.
Fair, but I'm telling you my perspective. My perspective was this was weak. It was based on things that were not criminal. It was based on the actions of other people. I have a critique of Mayor Adams, and particularly I have a critique of a number of the people he put around him, who I think were absolutely should never have been in government, should never have been in his team. I think he does have some explaining to do, to say the least. But I don't think he was worthy of this indictment. And now that it's been put aside, now he has a chance to actually show people what he's going to do for this city and make his case, and also how he's going to challenge Trump when Trump does something that hurts New York City.
We'll see.
It's a really straightforward mandate. He either answers that mandate or he doesn't. If he doesn't, the people of New York City won't accept that.
Former Mayor Bill de Blasio, good to have you here. Thank you.